about in class 1. So each class we go through and analyze an approximately 10-year period of history to see what happened to us after slavery ended, what were the laws and policies put in place, reversing gains that we made during Reconstruction, things like this. So in class number 1, we start with events that lead up to the Civil War taking place. Civil War is 1861 to 1865. So in class number 1, some of the things we discussed were events leading up to the Civil War taking place. We talked about the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 and how that increased the need for more African slaves. The U.S. gets 828,000 square miles of land from France, and this is going to basically double the territory of the U.S. and increase the need for enslaved African labor in some of those states where they're going to have slaves. We talked about Texas becoming a state in the Union and Texas winning its independence from Mexico in 1836. Texas becoming a state in the Union in 1845. It comes into the Union, comes into the United States as a slave-holding state. We deal with manifest destiny and the Europeans here in the United States thinking it's divine providence for them to take over the entire North American continent, spread democracy and capitalism, and take over this land. We deal with the Mexican-American War of 1846, 1848, which is really dealing with the U.S. wanting to take over the North American continent and take land from Mexico. It deals with a territorial dispute. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo of 1848, which ends the Mexican-American War, and the U.S. gets Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Utah, and Nevada from Mexico. We get all that land for about $15 million as a result of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. And because of this land coming in, becoming territory of the U.S., then this leads to the Compromise of 1850. And the Compromise of 1850 consists of 5 bills. A lot of that has to do with regulating the territory that's coming into the Union and whether they're going to have, slaves and things like that, whether it's going to be a slave-holding state or not. But one of the most important bills is the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which is part of the Compromise of 1850. And this intensifies the abolitionist movement, and it makes it more dangerous for runaway slaves who are up north. Okay. The sheriffs can deputize white people to go capture these runaway slaves. It removes habeas corpus. It removes their right to have a jury trial, and they can just be captured and turned back over to their slave owners or taken back to the South. So this causes more runaway slaves to go into Canada. That is the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. We talked about that as well. We talked about the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which dealt with whether it left it up to the people moving into those westward territories, Kansas, Nebraska, things like this. It left it up to them whether or not they would have slavery in those territories, as opposed to it being dictated to them by the federal government. And we also talked about Bleeding Kansas, about 1854, 1855. Bleeding Kansas, which was armed conflict between pro-slavery and anti-slavery groups in Kansas, Bleeding Kansas. So that's some of what we talked about in class number 1. So as soon as you register, you can watch class number 1. Visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there, and also we posted the link here as well. And then also we have for the other class I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We have a new session of this starting up. This is going to be on Sunday, September 19th. I pushed it back a week. It's going to be Sunday, September 19th, class number 1, 10-week online course. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. This is going to be 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Class number 1 will start up Sunday, September 19th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As soon as you register, this bonus content you can watch. Visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com to register for that class also. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Thanks for tuning in.